This is a cage for your A7IV series camera. It covers the A1, A7S3, A7R4, and the A7IV. Let's get into it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this cage here. If you take a look, this cage has 1/4 mounting holes everywhere on the top here, and as well as a 3/8 with the R8 locking pins here. Everything is nicely labeled so you know where everything is, and the hole is centered. On the left handle here, there is a provision for mounting a microphone, which is very great via cold shoe because it happens to be in the same place, which is right here, as the camera has it. So once you put the camera inside, there'll be minimal slack. On the left hand side here, you will see that there is another bank of 1/4 as well as a 3/8 locking. This left handle here is actually a NATO rail as well, so you can just slide your NATO handle right onto the side of it, which is a very nice feature. Going on the left hand side here, you can see that this is really now chamfered. SmallRig has moved away from making larger blocky cages, and they've really kind of slimmed down and streamlined the fit and finish, which is really nice. There's also 1/4 and a 3/8 locking area here as well. On the bottom of this is where you really start to see attention to detail here. The entire thing is an Argus Swiss plate, so it can just lock right into a tripod, and you don't need another Argus Swiss plate anymore, which is really nice. Flipping it over here, you see they do have more 1/4 mounted, and it tells you this is for the RSC, so you can mount this to a gimbal without using the Argus Swiss plate that comes with the gimbal. You can just slide the whole cage right in there, and it makes one less step that you have to do. Also is a flush mounted screw here, and a magnetic tool to tighten the screw, which is really ingenious. I really enjoy that. Very nice. And it doesn't feel like an afterthought, like it's definitely designed to go right in there. It sits flush with the cage. It's brilliantly executed. The door here on the A7IV for the battery is very intrusive into the grip, and it doesn't allow you to get in there. So without this little hinge here, you wouldn't be able to get open the battery door, and with this you now can, and it can crack open because the battery door on the A7IV does not have a pass-through. So this door needs to be cracked open, and this hinge allows you to facilitate that, which is really nice. It even has a bump out here so that you can pass the cable through without having it bind up if you want to mount this on a flat surface. As such, taking a look on the inside of here, you'll also see there are rubber grommets for the camera to keep it from getting scratched. They're all over. They're very nice. This is a locking pin here that gives you a second point of contact to keep the camera from moving inside this cage. That's always a pain. Very nice feature here. You just have to remove the lanyard clip, but SmallRig has gone ahead and provided you with a number of lanyard options here. One on this side, one on this side, as well as one on the bottom side here where the grip is. It's nice and meaty, so that if you want to put a handle here that kind of goes around your hand, you can do that too. It's very well thought out. Let's go ahead and remove the eyelet from this camera, and we can go ahead and install the A7IV into the SmallRig cage. Alright, so place the cage over your camera. It's easiest in this configuration, like this, and go ahead and tighten down that bottom screw. At least get it started. You don't have to do all of it. You still want a little bit of room to move the camera around and get it adjusted for that side mount. Now that the camera is loosely in the cage, we're going to go ahead and set this up. This is on a sliding rail system, and you'll see you can slide that into the eyelet on your camera and then tighten everything down. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, that'll pull that to the desired length, and then once you get that in, you can go ahead and tighten this side down. Now we can go ahead back to the bottom and continue to tighten down the main thread mounts. Now this camera is locked into the cage, and it's not going anywhere. That rattling you're hearing is actually the IBIS in the camera. So this is a really nice fit. Obviously, SmallRig knows what they're doing. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the camera and how it fits in the cage. So you can see here how this system will look. It mounts up, and it does give you access to all of the ports. So if you want to use the HDMI and run a small monitor, or if you want to mount a microphone, you can do that. As you can see, this is the microphone jack. This is the cold shoe that allows you to mount a system right in here. So if you're looking to mount a DJI microphone system, it's a really small cable trail. You don't have to worry about routing cables too long. The camera does sit nice and flush up against the front bumpers here, and the grip is contoured well for the handle of the camera grip. It also allows you that extra room to get your pinky on there, which is really nice for shooting this. Looking over the top of the camera, you can see I still have access to all the buttons and dials here within the camera, including the rocker switch, which is on the front here. They give you enough clearance with this cage to get your finger in there. The only complaint I've read about is that the record button is hard to get to. For me, it's not an issue. If you look directly top down, you can actually see that it is fully exposed. And so, unless you have large fingers, this should not be an issue. To be honest, it just feels really nice in the hands. The way they've contoured this does not protrude out, so that I don't feel like I'm hitting my hand on the cage. It kind of disappears on this side, which is kind of what you want it to do. You want it to be exactly there to, to mount everything and do everything, and then you can have it disappear and not be in the way when you want to take it out and do photos. A lot of people are going to be either putting a monitor on this or tying this into some type of cinema system, and you want it to disappear, more or less. You don't want it to be in the way. Okay, now let's take a look at a few accessories that I threw on the A7IV cage. I went ahead and added a monitor, a top handle, some HDMI accessories like we talked about, the bottom base plate, just to give you guys an idea of what you can do and maybe a few points of inspiration on what you want to do with your own rig. Obviously, the cable management here is not amazing, but I just threw this together so you guys can see it. So this is the same cage here with a NATO handle. I'm attached to a NATO rail here. I do have this really nice pan and tilt swivel monitor, so you can actually turn this around and come back if you wanted to film yourself, which is super handy. And I also put on a base plate so you guys can see what that looks like. And here's the HDMI lock that I was talking to you about. It's going to keep that cable from really wiggling, and I was able to even get a DJI wireless mic input set up here on the cold shoe. And again, that cable is just going to go right here. You're obviously going to want a very small patch cable if you decide to do something like this. If you guys are interested in a full build out, stay tuned. I'm going to be making a whole rig on rods at some point. But until then, keep creating. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, you know the deal.